What's going on, guys? Back again with another video. The day has finally come. Ahsoka season finale, or potentially series finale. I just finished watching it, and I must say, I'm pretty pleased. I had kind of negative expectations going into it, just because I was afraid that it would be disappointing. Look at the Mando season 3 finale. It was very not as good as it could have been. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with how the show ended. There are some things that I have issues with, but those issues have been pretty consistent throughout the series. But from start to finish, it was pretty good. I think that it ended in a perfect cliffhanger. I think that it set itself up for another season or potentially a film. And yeah, so spoilers. If you haven't seen it, probably don't want to watch this, but I'm going to go through a brief breakdown of what we saw. So starting off, Thrawn is speaking to the Night Sisters, and he tells them that the Jedi's chances of stopping them are pretty slim now. So he sends 2 TIE fighters after him. Then we skip forward to Ezra rebuilding his lightsaber, finally. Like, I was crossing my fingers that we'd see him use a lightsaber, and we did. It was awesome. Cool little Easter egg. The emitter he uses on his lightsaber is the same one Kanan uses on his. So that was nice. The Night Sisters, or the mothers, somehow amplify Morgan Elsbeth's powers. So she's either a full-blown Night Sister now, or a full-blown witch. So that was cool to see. She gets this cool sword, which is imbued with Night Sister magic. The TIE fighters come and kind of wreck Ahsoka's ship. So they make their way on foot to the Night Sister temple, I guess, whatever you want to call it, where the Chimera is floating above. Meanwhile, Huyang stays back and helps repair the ship. So they make their way through. The Chimera is blasting them with turbo lasers. They get into the temple and are attacked by the Night Troopers. So we see Ahsoka and Ezra, display their lightsaber skills. You see Sabine use hers, but then you realize that, she doesn't have the precognitive intuition to deflect bolts. So they're like, shoot them, Sabine. And so they wipe them all out. And then we see the Night Sisters reanimate them. And this is where, the whole zombie Death Troopers thing plays in. So they realize that they can't kill them because they're undead. They further progress up the temple. Then Morgan Elsbeth confronts Ahsoka. She tells Ezra and Sabine to, go on, you have to stop Thrawn. So we see this fight between Morgan and Ahsoka, which very well choreographed, to my surprise. It looked really good. Ezra and Sabine make it to the top of the spire or whatever, and are confronted by 2 Death Troopers that are undead. So 2 Death Troopers that are Death Troopers. Yeah, it's complex, but they look really cool. Like, that Death Troopers are probably my favorite Imperial Stormtrooper variant. And you can just tell that they're whooping their ass. I mean, their Death Troopers are elite already. You add that on top of them being undead. So Ezra and Sabine kind of get their ass kicked. Then we get this really cheesy scene where, of all times now, Sabine can use the Force. She uses the Force to grab her lightsaber. She's getting choked out. Uses the Force to grab the lightsaber and, stop the zombie from killing her. Yeah, it happened. So it's real life now. Ahsoka and Morgan Elsbeth are still fighting. They make their way to the top of the temple. And Sabine, now that she's a Force goddess, sends Ezra across the gap because the Chimera is lifting off. They're leaving. Thrawn's booking it out of there. Uses the Force to assist Ezra across the gap, and Ezra makes it on the Chimera. Meanwhile, Sabine and Ahsoka are still on the top of this temple. Well, Ahsoka's getting her ass kicked. She loses her Shoto saber, so she's down to 1 lightsaber now, which is, what are they going to do about that? She's had those cool katana-esque Japanese style hilt lightsabers since we saw in Rebels, the ones that she purified. So that sucks. Morgan Elsbeth is killed, which, was there any other way to get out of that? Ahsoka's not going to die. Sabine's not going to die. She's not going to automatically become allies with them, so she had to die. But overall, the fight scene was pretty cool. And lo and behold, the Chimera gets away. Sabine and Ahsoka hop in the T6 shuttle because with a nick of time, it's fixed. So they pursue the Chimera, and before they can get to him, Thrawn calls him and says, good luck, good try. If you're anything like your master, so he pretty much tells her that he knows who her master was, And those of you that have read the novels know that Thrawn knew Anakin. They were on a mission together during the Clone Wars, and then Thrawn knew Anakin was Vader. So he kind of goes through a little bit. Then, right before they can catch up to him, boom, they jump to hyperspace, and Ahsoka and Sabine are stuck there on this planet. So it leaves us with a really good cliffhanger. The bad guys won. Ezra gets away with Thrawn again, and it kind of switch places. We see Shin, I guess, salute the Marauders that helped her, and then that's that. And right before we kind of get to the last ending scenes, we see Balin, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like he's at this temple or some kind of Mount Rushmore looking thing, shrine of the Mortis gods. We see the Father, we see the Son. So that leads me to believe that everything he was looking for was Mortis, the Mortis gods, the power that comes from that. Thrawn and the Night Sisters arrive on Dathomir, and from my understanding, it appears that he made some sort of deal with them to transport their fallen Night Sisters or just their people back to Dathomir. I don't know if they're going to be resurrected. I don't know if they're just going to put them to rest, but it seems as though that's how he worked out the deal with them because, the whole hangar bay is full of coffins. Ezra shows up to the New Republic fleet. He's in his Night Trooper armor. And then, they're standing guard, who is this, And Chopper comes up and recognizes him and, hi, Hera. I'm home. It was really good, really, really heartwarming scene, because Hera was the mother of the Ghost Crew, so it was very nice for them to be able to see each other again. Flash forward back to Ahsoka and Sabine, and Ahsoka says that we're where we need to be. We're where we're supposed to be. We see Malgai, or correct me if I'm wrong, with the owl that always follows Ahsoka. Pretty much the owl that was kind of the representation of the daughter from Mortis. And she looks into the horizon and sees, Anakin and Force Ghost. He kind of smiles approvingly at her. So overall, man, this episode was really good, and I'm very glad that this was a satisfying finale to the show. As I said before, this was like make or break. If this was bad, it would have left a nasty impression on the show overall. And for the most part, like I said, I give the show an 80, 85% out of 100. It was pretty good. I was pretty pleased with the show overall and how they executed everything. As I've said before, my biggest complaint is them just dropping Sabine into this Jedi role that didn't really have to be, but it happened now. It's a real thing now. She can use the Force. So where we'll go from there, I don't know. But everything else pertaining to the characters in which were involved did a really good job. Thrawn, great job. Seeing Anakin in live action, again, done the right way, not like what we saw in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Phenomenal. They used him to a perfect degree. I don't feel as though it was cheap or it felt like they were overusing him or just feeding on our nostalgia. I feel like everything was done perfectly. But yeah, overall, this leaves me optimistic for the future, especially projects under Dave Filoni. I know we're supposed to get the Skeleton Crew later in the year and the Acolyte, as far as I know. How those shows are going to turn out, I don't know. I don't really care. I'm not too worried about the Acolyte being as the comments made by the woman in charge of it. And Skeleton Crew, I don't know enough about it to be hyped. So overall, this is a high point for Star Wars, and I hope it brings us all together as fans to speculate and culminate our thoughts and opinions on this, because the past 8 weeks have been awesome. I've been super excited. Everybody's talking about what could happen, what may happen. The hype has been awesome. I can't think of anything that's been this popular in recent times pertaining to Star Wars. So overall, yeah, guys, the series has been good. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I plan to go in some more in-depth discussion about things we saw or what we may see in the future. But yeah, this is just a breakdown of the finale. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, check out more videos. We'll see you on the next one.